What's cracking, everyone? Amy Crichton here, and today we are talking about 5 ways to instantly make your video conferencing look better, and the best part is you can start straight away and it's not going to cost a cent. Welcome back to the channel. It's great to have you here, and yes, we are talking about 5 ways to instantly up your video conferencing game. Video conferencing has become so popular in the last 12 months due to some unforeseen circumstances in the world. I own a video production company, so I do this for a living. So it's easy for me to say what's right and what's wrong and what looks good and what doesn't. But you might not know that. You might not know what looks good and what you have to do with your lighting. That's what I'm here to tell you about today. In the last 12 months, I've seen some horrific Zoom calls. Absolutely horrific. What were you thinking? Let's jump straight in, and the biggest factor that's going to impact your Zoom call and your video conferencing quality is light. Light is key. Light is the most important thing that you need. It really doesn't matter what type of web camera you have, what type of video conferencing service you're using. That doesn't matter. If your lighting is terrible, your web camera is just not going to cope. You're going to get lots of noise, it's going to look grainy, you're going to look terrible. So let's get the lighting sorted. So a lot of people are using laptops for video conferencing. You guys using laptops have zero excuse for bad lighting. You can physically move closer to a window, so you can set yourself up pretty good to look pretty schmick. Alright, so here is an example of me setting up close to a window. Now you can see that the lighting is fairly even on my face. The background is a little bit dark, but this is a massive room and it's an overcast day. If it was a sunny day, there would be a lot more light spilling in. But the most important thing you want to think about is your face. Is your face easy to see? Is your face evenly lit? And in this case, just by moving closer to the window, I've achieved that. Alright, so this is exactly the same. I haven't changed any settings on the camera. All I've done is move about 3 meters away from the window. And you can see what such a difference it makes. Just being a little bit further away from the window makes everything look so much darker. My skin is not evenly lit. It looks dark. The room looks dark. It looks cold. It looks terrible. So just really try to move closer to the window where you can. Now that was a perfect example of good and bad lighting, and you can see what a difference just moving towards a window can make for your video conferencing. For you guys that are chained to a desk and can't physically move closer to a window, this is going to be a little bit more difficult. You can try moving your webcam and angling that webcam a little bit differently to try and get a little bit more exposure. Because these webcams are auto exposure, they will shut down in dark situations and in light situations. So they will adjust depending on how you tilt and rotate it. So give that a try. If that doesn't help you out at all, you're really going to need to try and get some sort of light. You can get a really cheap light from Bunnings or Home Depot, and this will just crank up your value 100%. These are cheap lights. You can even use something like a headlamp. This will make such a difference. Number 2 is sound. There is nothing worse sitting on a video conferencing call and someone sounds like they're sitting at the bottom of the ocean and you can't actually understand what they're saying. Sometimes this is due to the internet connection, and sometimes it's due to your internet connection. So you need to make sure that your internet connection is up to scratch, it's at a good speed, and it can handle what you're throwing at it. If this is something you do every day, this is something really worth investing in. It's not a necessity, and it's just sometimes you have bad internet. But if you can make a little difference in upping your internet plan, then you'll really notice an up in quality. Most webcams come with audio, so before you buy a webcam, make sure that your audio is included in the webcam. There is nothing worse than buying a webcam for $200-300 to find out that you need an external microphone. That's just going to be an extra hassle you don't need. The audio coming out of a webcam is just fine as long as you position it properly. Make sure you position your webcam close enough to you so that you can be heard. You don't want to have it 1-2 meters away from you and you're in the corner there. Hello? No one's going to be able to hear you. You want to make sure your webcam is close enough to you so you can be heard properly. You want to stay within a meter. Any more than this is going to start to sound echoey and lower the quality. Next is framing. Now this is my biggest gripe. Look at your framing before you go live on video conferencing. We don't want to see this. This is terrible. This is bad framing. You want to frame your video more like I have done here. You don't want to have too much headroom. You don't want to have your head cut off. You don't want to be to one side. You don't want to be to the other side. People's attention is in the center. So make sure you're nice and centered and you have not cut off your head. That is the biggest thing. Don't cut off your head and don't leave this much space in between your head and the top of the frame. People don't need to see that. And tip number 5 is tell everyone else in your household that you're about to go on a video conferencing call. There is nothing worse than just starting up the call and then your husband walks in yelling that there's no milk for the coffee. You really need to get everyone on board, get the kids organised, get the dogs organised, get the cats organised, even though they are pretty funny when they make an appearance. But to look more professional, you need to get these things out of the way so you can concentrate on what you're there to do. You're there to present to people, you're there to interact with people, have meetings. This is a very serious thing and you'll still have to do your job even though you're doing it from home. So these are just 5 little tips that can help you develop a little bit more in your video conferencing game. I really hope you enjoyed it and I really hope you can take something away from this. So that's it. That is 5 tips on how to instantly up your video conferencing game. I really hope you've taken something away from this video. If you liked it, please like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one.